Just like that, India would become the most important nation on the planet. We all want this, but it has always been too expensive, until now. We share an idea that can achieve this goal with no increase in education funding.
We know that sounds too good to be true, but the kids in our school used to be typical statistics. Like most children in the world, by age 12 they had dropped out of school, laboring in quarries or factories, smoking and drinking, getting into fights. They were trapped in the cycle of poverty.
Now, dropouts are back in school, attending every day. They are model students, gaining 2 grade levels per year. They fix up and improve their communities and receive job training, and all at a similar cost to government schools.
So how can schools in India achieve universal quality education and the goal of 1 billion plus well-educated citizens? It seems the answer was under our noses the entire time.
Schools need to employ these child laborers. They need jobs, so let's employ them as private teachers for younger students. Employ them to grade tests and quizzes. Employ them to take attendance and print worksheets. We can use cheap child labor to make quality education affordable. Elite private schools can afford to hire 1 adult teacher for every 5 students. We can train and employ children at a fraction of the cost. This is the key to scalability. This is the key to reaching every child in India.
As it turns out, a teenager with a tablet can be a powerful teacher. We've piloted this idea in our schools. In fact, our students might be the youngest paid teachers in the world. Though I should say they're paid in a digital currency, which they can only use in the school or to do online shopping. At first, we thought they'll buy toys, they'll buy candy with their earnings, but mostly they buy shoes, sandals, basic food, just things they really need, things that help lower the financial burden from their families. At first, most of our older students were dropouts. They left primary school to start earning and help their families. Some as young as 12 years old worked in the local stone quarry, breaking stones all day in the hot sun, or working in a factory, or cutting down trees. Girls are kept at home to do housework. Sometimes they're traded off to other families to do housework. The kids who are lucky enough to have parents, their families expect them to be breadwinners or housekeepers. So we told the parents, send your daughters and sons to school instead, and they'll earn money in school. Now, students' wages, they start very low, so the parents complained that the kids could earn more by doing manual labor. So we had to tell them, if you send them to school, their earnings will increase as they learn more and more. But if you send them to the stone quarry, they'll earn the same amount for their entire lives.
This speech was very convincing. We got dropouts back into school, attending on time every single day, and convinced them to abandon manual labor. We started getting more and more kids until the school was at capacity. We easily went from 20 to 100 kids in 1 year. Kids that insist on coming to school every day, even if their parents don't care about schooling. Kids that protest if the school is closed, forcing us to stay open over summer break and winter holidays. Within a year, we had 100 more kids on the wait list. Parents were begging to send their kids, telling their tragic stories to us every day. It was heartbreaking to send them away until we could build more classrooms. Nevertheless, it showed us that this concept could get dropouts back into school and keep them there.
But in our first year, we still wondered, can children really be trained into effective teachers? Can we teach children how to teach? Now we know the answer to that question. We want to show you a student of ours named Deepika. She's our first student to decide to become a doctor when she grows up. Recently, she was promoted in the school, and now she can teach 3 students at once instead of just 1 student, which gives her a higher wage. Let's watch her class.
Okay, number 1. Across. Across means English, no? Sida. Good. Across means sida and down means tolong. Good. It across number 1 to click. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What is the opposite সিহঁতে বেডৰ ভিতৰত কি হয় গুড গুড হা এতিয়া নাম্বাৰ 5 Lo mana support no opposite of lo support যেনেকুৱা কি এইটো ঘৰতে মান support ন আৰু পাহাৰি দিলে কি হয় মুখ ন ওকে কত কি কৰে হাই গুড
Next, we want to show you the Kumari sisters. Their father operates a snack cart in the village. And he's very happy because his 2 eldest daughters can now earn money in school by teaching the youngest. And the eldest, of course, earns even more because she teaches the middle sister. Let's watch.
Somebody who fixed it. जिन्हें कितना फिक्स करेंगे आधार करेंगे टीचर डेंटिस्ट एस पेडा मैंने फेडर तो किनको लाइक तो नंबर 1 तो फर्स्ट की है तो ग्रैंडफादर लिखा ग्रैंडफादर माने आता सब लाइन itu क्या है mother mother माने कोई माँ लिखा S and ox to can count Your hand has 5. তোমার হাতের 5টা কি আছে? Fingers. 8 5
Now, young Sanjay here, she's reading English beyond her grade level. And if these girls become mothers, which is fairly typical in the village for girls the age of Priti, they'll be able to teach their children so that when they start school, they'll be more than ready. This cumulative exponential effect is how we can achieve the goal of 1 billion educated in India. This is how we can close the achievement gap between rich and poor, and finally provide quality education for all. In this education model, which we call meta-teaching, which is teaching how to teach, every young student has daily private lessons from an older, caring, and paid student under direct supervision of adult teachers. That one-on-one attention is the key. Now, the goal isn't to replace adult teachers. All of our students still have regular classes with adult teachers like other schools. Instead, the goal of meta-teaching is to replace the role that an educated parent would serve at home. So privileged families, they help their kids with homework at night, they give them encouragement, they send them for private lessons, and they make sure they go to school every day. That's the key to their success in school. But most kids in the world have nothing.
These 2 boys are orphans, each abandoned by their mothers. But we can put them together daily and make sure that young Bhargav has someone in his life encouraging him to learn and supporting his growth every day. The younger student is thrilled to have someone focused on them daily. But the best part of the meta-teaching system is the older student benefits a lot too. 15-year-old Prashanta here dropped out of primary school and was working in a quarry and as a woodcutter before he was 12. His mother left him and his sister when they were young. He came to us in 2016 all on his own and asked to be enrolled in the school. He and the other older boys liked how we didn't shame them for not knowing the alphabet and how we let them move through the curriculum at their own pace. But when he started teaching, that's when he really transformed. Even though he only teaches for 1 or 2 hours per day, his wages are based on his progress in school. So the more he learns, the more he earns. He went from learning his ABCs to 6th grade Cambridge English level in 3 years. And he's an excellent teacher now. But as we had hoped, becoming a better teacher made him a better learner too. He has gained leadership skills, communication skills, deep compassion and confidence. He also has the respect of the younger students and has become a happier, more responsible person. He earns his wages in a fake currency, which he can use at school to buy whatever he wants. He mostly buys food, clothing, shoes that we can get from the local shops, or he orders online himself. He also has a school bank account. He fills out weekly timesheets for his wages as he learns to save and budget. By becoming a teacher, he learns how to be an adult.
Let's watch.
So next,
But Prashanta here, he doesn't just learn how to be a teacher. He has classes in English, math, computers, everything he needs to earn his secondary certificate. But as much as possible, we try to include vocational and hands-on practical training into the curriculum. Solar tech, embroidery, office work, animal shelter, carpentry, welding, landscaping, among other trades. All incorporating their lessons from math and English and science classes. All of this is in line with what Mahatma Gandhi taught, that the school should blend traditional academics with hands-on practical learning that can help them develop their own community, get an apprenticeship, or start a business. This is part of the promise we make to each student and their families, a promise we think every school should make to students. We call it the School to Career Pipeline, and we tell them we're going to train you and guide you and place you into a high-skilled profession. Some of them will make it to college to become doctors or engineers or BAs, maybe 10% in India, but the vast majority of them will not. Should we just continue to label these nearly 90% of children as dropouts and losers and wish them the best of luck? Or maybe it's about time schools put some dignity and pride into training carpenters, chefs, plumbers, electricians, all the people who build our society, and make sure they still have a decent education in language arts, financial maths, and civics. One day we hope to offer a new kind of degree, as one British think tank suggested, Master Craftsman or Master Craftswoman, for cosmetologists, carpenters, cooks, electricians, to offer dignity to professionals of all stripes.
But before they get their degrees, our students of all ages will already be working towards improving their communities and their environment. Every student is trained to be a teacher, and likewise, every student is trained to be a technician at the school recycling center. Older kids get paid to sort and recycle the plastic, but children of all ages are required to pay weekly plastic school fees instead of actual money. This is the image that spread all over the world like wildfire. This determined young boy Deep, clutching his school bag in one hand and his plastic school fees in the other. We think it went viral because this picture shows a paradigm shift, a new way of thinking. It shows that children can be an important resource in fixing the problems of the world, and they can receive the best kind of education in the process. What if every school in the world had a policy like this? Maybe we could slow the growth of swirling continents of plastic choking the ocean.
We've seen this idea work in a government school in Delhi. Before we started, the general agreement among school leaders and teachers alike was that these students were hopeless, they're criminals, and one school official actually warned us to watch out because they'll stab you. Within 2 months, they were model students. You see, in addition to receiving wages for being responsible teachers, they pay fines for any misbehavior. I'll tell you right now, no amount of timeouts, detentions, or any kind of punishment compares to the sting of losing money. And it works for children the same way it works for adults. The local government was so impressed with the transformation of the students that they want to reform more schools next year.
We have seen how this model can transform angry, alienated teens into responsible model students and model citizens. No more bullying, no more isolation. Every student can have a purpose and feel like they belong. Even some developed countries can benefit from a model like this, other than Finland, which is doing just fine already. But in the US, many schools drill their students for active shooters with machine guns, the way we drill students for earthquake and fire, without addressing the real problem, the alienation of youth. Schools can stop this madness if they take it upon themselves to make sure that young people have a sense of purpose and belonging. Schools need to make career placements and small business incubation a part of their responsibilities, especially for kids in poverty. For the short term, we are doing solar tech training, installing rainwater harvesters, operating recycling units, and planting trees. But the end game is to train all teenagers to do large-scale environmental cleanup and disaster relief, building shelter, providing food and water, first aid, and building schools so that they can learn the work of resettling refugees and people displaced by climate change. Wildfire, air pollution, flood, rising sea levels, drought, food shortage, and mass migration are becoming the new norm. And the jobs of the future will be in addressing these. Schools need to take drastic steps to ensure that children are prepared for these jobs and ready for the challenges ahead.
It's time for schools to evolve, to rethink what students are capable of, and unlock a vast wealth of untapped potential. If every school in the world takes steps like these, they can improve the quality of education and help the world face challenges ahead at the same time. Schools can become centers for community transformation by incubating small business, by providing job skills, and placing students into entry-level jobs. For example, we've partnered with a solar panel firm to develop a solar technician course for 14 to 16-year-olds, so they can be ready to start earning for their families and have a high-skilled career at the same time. These new schools can also help the workers who are displaced by automation and AI to find a new purpose in life, while they gain a sense of purpose from helping educate the next generation.
People don't have to be the problem. Overpopulation is often pegged as the main threat to the world, as if we human beings are the biggest threat to life on Earth. But what if, instead of billions of poor, uneducated, and unemployed liabilities, we have masses of educated, empowered, and enterprising families using creativity and innovations to fix their local communities? What if schools all over the world harness the power of teens and children? What if social ills become teachable moments and we incorporate them into the children's lessons at school? The local work of millions of schools can add up to a huge difference. It may be enough to tackle the existential threats facing the global community. And it all starts by educating the whole child. Thank you for listening.